welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. So in today's lesson we are going to see how we can manage a database which will include all our users from our app, and I'm gonna show you for that how to use Firebase. Okay, and the second thing that I'm gonna show you today is how to register via this page our users. Okay, the first thing you need to do is to open a browser, and here you can write Firebase, okay, like this. Then you're going to either you have to sign in or sign up. Okay, it's if it's the first time, or either if it's if you already have an account, you just have to go to the console. Okay, then I'm sorry, but it's written in French, but I will translate to you. You have to click on new project, okay, and here you have to give it a name. Okay, so we're going to say Instagram Firebase en. Okay, then you have to accept to accept this box and then create the project. Okay, and once it's done, you just have to click on continue. Okay, so when you arrive on this page, you have to select iOS, this one. Okay, and from now you have to go back to your project on Xcode. Okay, here, and you will select this line. Okay, so copy this line, go back to Firebase, and here you are going to paste the line. Okay, you don't need to fill in these two fields, and you can simply save the app like this. Okay, then it says that you have to download this file, so download it, and once it's downloaded, we are going to drag and drop it into Xcode. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is to open first Xcode like this, and here you simply like this. Okay, below info playlist, and here you just have to click finish. Okay, now that it's done, we are going to call the terminal. So you have two ways to do it. I prefer to go here and just call it by saying terminal and press enter. Okay, once you have it, you can simply, for instance, drag and drop one of these lines here. Okay, in order to have the path of the project. You can simply delete this part in order to have all the folder of the project. Okay, here, and then you have to go to the beginning of the path here. Okay, then you press CD for command and you press enter. Okay, and now if I write ls for list, you can see that we are inside of our project. Okay, from now if we go back to Firebase and then we click on next, it says that you have to write pod init. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So here we are going to say pod init in order to create the pod file. Okay, normally it's done. If you want to check, you can rewrite ls, and as you can see, we have our pod file. Okay, then we are going to open it, open pod file like this. Okay, and it shows there. Okay, cool. Then we have to write some dependencies. So the first pod Firebase slash core, okay, but we're going to add 3 other dependencies, okay. So pod Firebase slash auth for authentication, okay, then pod Firebase database, okay, and the last one will be Firebase slash storage, okay, like this. Cool. Then you can press Command S to save the changes, okay, and you can close this this window like this. Cool. The next thing you have to do is to call back the terminal, okay, here, and now you can just say pod install, okay, press enter, and you will have all the dependencies that will be downloaded, okay. Cool. So it says that please close any current Xcode sessions and use Instagram Firebase en.exe workspace for this project from now on, okay. So that means we're going to close this window, okay, and in order to call the new one, one thing you can do is to rewrite ls, okay. So we are still in our project folder, and then you can say, for instance, open point like this, and you will get the folder of the project. So from now on we are not going to use this file anymore, so you can forget it. We're going to use this one rather, okay, because it's the same that this one, but with all the pods we need, okay. So you can close the terminal, and here you can click on to this icon, okay. Cool. And from now on we're going to work with this one. So as you can see, it's kind of look like the previous one that we had, but now we also have all our pods included in the project. Cool. Then if we go back to the Firebase page, it says, once you click on next, that you have to go to the app delegate file, okay, so which is here, app delegate, okay, and then it says that in the did finish launching with options function, you have to write this line, okay, but before you also have to import the Firebase SDK. So what you can do is either copy and then simply paste the line like this, and then do the same thing for this one, okay, copy and paste it like this, or you can directly write it if you want, like this, okay, configure. Then what you can do is to press Command B in order to let Xcode takes into account these changes, okay. Okay, the next thing we have to do is, I think, if we press next, so we can let this run in background and continue to work on our project. So what the next thing I want you to do is to go to viewcontroller.swift, okay. Maybe we can launch yes, our app in order to see if everything works smoothly. Cool. The next thing we are going to do is to create a user, okay. So the first thing you have to do is to import Firebase SDK, okay, and in order to delete all this garbage useless garbage from the console, you can go there, okay, in edit scheme, and here you can write OS underscore activity underscore mode, and then simply disable it. Okay, press enter and close the window. And if I relaunch the app, normally the console will be empty. Okay, cool. Okay, then the next thing to do is to create the action by which every time the user will tap on this button, it will create the user. Okay, so as you can see, we are going to work on the sign up button. So we are going to select the sign up button, and here you can write button dot add target to create a new action. So target is self, the button itself. Okay, here in selector you have to press pound button, okay, then selector, like this. Here we're going to say handle sign up for the name of the function, and here it's touch up inside. It's every time when the button is pressed. Okay, and as we have created this new function, Xcode doesn't know it for the moment, so we have to create it. And as it's a selector function, you have to write at object like this, and then write function handle sign up. Okay, and we are good to go. Okay, and you will see that the error will disappear. Okay, cool. One advice that I can give you is that every time you create a new function which is an action, you can test it by writing 1 2 3, for instance. Okay, I'm going to relaunch the app, and if every time I tap on the button we have 1 2 3 into the console, it means that it works correctly. So as you can see here, we have 1 2 3 when I tap on the button, so it's cool. Okay, so as I said, what we want is to create a new user every time that we tap on this button. So in order to create the new user, you have to call auth.create user. Okay, this one. And as you can see, this this function requires an email and a password. Okay, so for the first example, we're going to create random figures. Okay, so let email is equal to, I don't know, Farouk Academy @gmail.com. Okay, and then the password could be, let password is equal to 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, and once it's they're created, you can just simply paste it into the parentheses like this. Okay, cool. And then here you have to press enter like this. Okay, it expects two parameters, I think. So here one user, and here an error if something goes wrong. Okay, so you can write error, okay, to be type of error with a question mark. Okay, cool. Then here we are going to say if let error is equal error, this one. Okay, then we're going to print a message which will say failed to create a user. Okay, and then we will display the error. Okay, cool. Otherwise, if it works perfectly, we're going to save a message by saying successfully created user. Okay, and then we're going to say user, which is the result, dot user dot UID. UID is the ID of the user that we will have created. Okay, but as it's an optional here, which means that it can work or not, we have to say if we have nothing, like this. Okay, by a blank an empty field. So I'm going to relaunch the app. So here, normally when I'm going to tap on this button, it should return successfully created user with the UID. Okay, but as you can see, it doesn't work because the given sign-in provider is disabled for this Firebase project. Okay, guys, one thing that I can advise to you is that you have to take the habit to read the console messages. Okay, because sometimes they will give you some information that will help you to debug your project. Okay, so here it means that the sign-in provider option is disabled for the moment. Okay, so if we go back to Firebase and go to the console, we are going to select off, and here in this connection tab, we are going to select the first one, email and password, and simply just activate it. Okay, not this one, just the first one, and save it. Okay, cool. So now it's activated. We can go back to our project. Okay, and I'm going to relaunch it again and tap on the button, on the sign up button. Okay, like this, and as you can see, successfully created user, and this is the UID. Okay, the ID of our user. And to check if it's correct, you can go there, and in the users tab, you can see that our user has been created correctly. Okay, so this is the first point. Okay, the next thing is obviously to replace these random figures by our three fields. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to comment these lines after. So now that I have comment these figures, we're going to use these fields, and in order to be sure to guarantee that they are well filled in, okay, we have to use the guardlet statement. Okay, so guardlet email is equal to email text field dot text, obviously, else return like this. For those who don't know the guardlet statement, actually it's another way, just like the way we unwrap some figures. Guardlet statement allows us to check if we have a statement or not before going ahead. Okay, yes, then guardlet username is equal to username text field dot text else return. Okay, and finally guardlet password is equal to password text field dot text else return. And you have to know that return means that if this statement is not completed correctly, the return means that the app will crash or will stop. Okay, cool. So now we can delete these lines, okay? And I'm going to relaunch the app in order to check if it works, okay? So here we can say, I don't know, test@gmail.com, for instance. The username could be Farouk, and the password could be 123123, like this. And if I type on sign up, you can see that the user has been created successfully here in the console. We can go back to Firebase, and if I refresh this window, you can see that our new user is just there, test@gmail.com. Cool. So one other thing that I want to show you is that we have to prevent that the user will be signed up only if all the fields are completed, are filled in, okay? So in order to do that, here we can add another criteria, for instance. So we have to say that email, this one, okay, dot count, okay, has to be superior from 0, okay? Same thing for the two other fields. So username dot count has to be superior to 0, and the last one, password dot count has to be superior to 0, because I'm going to show you what happens if we try to sign up the user without having all the information, okay? So I can write, okay, that, and then do sign up, and here failed to create user error, okay, the password must be 6 characters long or more, okay? Or for instance, if I delete this line, the username line, and try to sign up, no, I think I have to okay, so I'm going to I'm going to sign up without having all the fields completed. And as you can see, it's not working. Okay, so I can do that, stack. Okay, cool. So here, if we don't fill in every field, it's not working, okay? I think the next thing I want to show you is that I want to change the color of the sign up button when all the fields are completed and that the sign up button is ready to register the user, okay? So let me show you first of all with the email text field, then we will apply this action to the two other text fields, okay? So tf dot add target. Always remember that when you work on a button or a text field, it's add target to add an action on this object, okay? So here it's self, okay, without parentheses. Here pound button selector, we're going to write handle text input change, like this, and here what we want is to editing a change when the text field is filled in. Okay, so just like before, we have to create this function. So as it's a selector action, you have to write add object like this, then func, the name of the function, and then curly brackets. Okay, and here we can say that every time that this text field will be filled in, the sign up button dot background color will change. Okay, so here you can write dot orange, for instance. Okay, so now we're going to try if it works. Okay, here if I write whatever you want, Farouk, as you can see, the button color changes, but it remains this, the same color even when the text field is blank. So we have to create a condition which will check before changing the color. So the first thing we can say is that let is email valid is equal to email text field dot text dot count. Okay, so as it's an optional, once again we have to say that if it's the case, we will change it by 0. Okay, to have a value. Okay, actually that means when you use that statement that if we don't have any value, we replace it by a 0 or an empty field. Okay, empty space, for instance, an empty value, rather I should say an empty value. Okay, so that. Okay, and here you can say if is email valid, then you change it by this this property. Okay, else we are going to keep the previous color. Okay, copy. Here you can say sign up button dot background color. Okay, this one. So I'm going to relaunch the app and see if it works. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot the condition. Actually, we have to check if it's superior to 0. Okay, now it's gonna work. Sorry. So I relaunched the app. And now, as you can see, if I write something, the sign up button is orange, but if I remove, it will take its initial color. So you can try. It works perfectly. Cool. But that is not the color that I want to for our app. We're going to use rather UI color.rgb. Okay, and the first value is 17, here 154, and here I think 237. Cool. So as you can see, the color becomes darker when you fill in the email text field. Okay, cool. But in our matter, we have to check these 3 fields before changing the sign up button color. Okay, so here we are rather writing is form valid. By form I mean the 3 fields. Okay, so I can replace this statement even here. Okay, and then say using that to include other criterias required. So username text field dot text dot count, sorry, dot count, okay, and password text field dot text dot count to be superior to 0. Okay, cool. I'm going to relaunch the app, but you will see that it's not gonna work. I let you some moment if you want to think why it's not gonna work. Just because this action, handle text input change, is only concerned or included into the email text field object, but we have to copy paste this action to the two other text fields, okay, in order to make it work. Then you can relaunch the app and we will see if it works. So here, if I say Farouk at gmail.com, okay, here I can say Apple, for instance, I don't care, 123 123, and if I sign up, the user should be correctly created. Okay, so that's the case. Here you can see that Farouk at gmail.com has been created correctly. Okay, and the button changes its color solely when all the fields are completed. Cool. One last thing I want to show you before leaving you for today is that I want to disable the button when all the text fields are not completed. Okay, so in order to do that, you are going to go back to the sign up button, and here by default we can say that button is enabled to false. Okay, cool. And then here in our handle text input change, we can say because it will be enabled or disabled according to these fields. Okay, so here you can say sign up button dot is enabled is equal to true. Okay, so that means that when is form valid or is true, the sign up button is enabled. Otherwise, sign up button will remain to false. Okay, so I relaunch the app for the last time, and here you can see when you tap on the button, nothing happens. Okay, you have to complete all the fields clickable, maybe you can say clickable, maybe you will understand. Okay, so 123 123, and as you can see, it shows up and it works correctly. So that's up for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I need support from you, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if it's not done yet, and don't hesitate to talk about my course. Thank you very much, guys. I see you in the next lesson. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.